Alright, hi everyone. Let's continue with our data structures and algorithm series. In our previous video, we discussed about what is a linked list, how it is different than the arrays, and few common operations like insertion and removal of data, and how we can get a specific data from our linked list. And today we are going to implement our linked list data structure in JavaScript. So as we all know, linked list is a collection of nodes, right? Now if you don't remember what is a node, then node is a sort of object that stores a value and a pointer that points to the next node in our linked list. For example, like this is our first node in the linked list that has value 10 and a pointer that points to the next node that has value 5, and these collection of nodes creates a linked list. So our first step will be to implement a node. For that, let's jump onto the code sandbox. For now, we don't need this preview tab, so I will close this. So as I mentioned in my last videos that we will be using classes for implementing our data structures. So I will create a class for our node that will accept a value. And as we know, node also contains a pointer that points to the next node. For that, I will have another property here, this dot next. For now, initially, this next pointer will point to null. Alright, that's all. That's what we need to do to create a node. Now, in order to show you how our linked list will look like when we will use this node class, I will create an instance here. My first node will have the value 1 and this node will point to next node that has value 2. Right now, this second node will point to the third node that has value 3. And just for example, let's create a one more node that has value 4. A quick note, this is not an ideal way to create a linked list. I am just doing this to show you how our linked list will look when we will use this node class. Do not do this in your real world, otherwise people might get angry with you, especially in your interview. You will be rejected straight away. Now I will just open my console and show you how our linked list will look like. I will do a console log here quickly. Alright. You can see we have our linked list here that has a node with value 1 and a next pointer that points to another node that has value 2, and this second node is pointing to the third node that has value 3, and so on, right? And that's how our linked list will look like when we will use our node class. Alright, now it's time to create another class that is our actual linked list data structure. Or more specifically, let's name it singly linked list. Now before that, let's quickly take a look at some points that we need to keep in our mind while implementing a linked list. So when we are implementing our linked list, we have to keep track of head, tail and length of our linked list. Now what is head and what is tail here? So the first node in your linked list will be called head because it's the first node, right? And the last node of your linked list will be known as tail. You will see why it is helpful to keep track of your head and tail when we will work with our instance methods like push method or pop method, etc. Also we will keep track of the length of our linked list, which will be similar to array.length, right? That gives us the length of the array. In the same way, we will get the length of our linked list. Now let's quickly jump onto the code sandbox and try to implement our linked list data structure. Initially, both head and tail will point to null because right now we do not have any node in our singly linked list, right? And the length will be 0. So now let me quickly create an instance of this singly linked list class so I can show you how it looks like. Alright, you can see we have head, tail and length. Head and tail are pointing to null because we do not have any node in our linked list right now, and the length is 0. Cool. Now the first instance method we want to implement is the push method so that we can add new nodes in our linked list. For that, let's quickly take a look at the pseudo code of our push method. So the first thing is push method will accept one value. Next, we need to create a new node with the value passed to the method, meaning we have to create a new node with our node class, and then we have to pass the value that we accepted in our push method. Next, if there is no head property, then set the head and tail to be the newly created node, meaning let's say we do not have any node right now in our linked list, then we have to set both head and tail to the new node that we just created. One way to check whether we have the nodes in our linked list or not is check whether we have anything in our head property or not. Second method can be you can check the length also. If length is 0, then yes, we don't have any node, but it depends on you, whichever method you like. So what we need to do is set the head and tail property to the newly created node, meaning we have to do this dot head, this dot tail. That should be fine. Now before moving to the next step, let's quickly see the current progress. I will just call here list.push and then I will push 1. Alright, you can see our head and tail both are having a new node that has value 1, and their next pointer is pointing to null because we do not have any other node in our linked list right now. Now let's move on with the next steps in our pseudocode. So if let's say we have some nodes in our linked list, then we have to set the next property on the tail to be the new node. Alright, I will add a else statement here. And now assume you already have some nodes in your linked list. Then what we need to do, we have to set the tail.next with a new node. It will tell the tail node to point to a new node, and then we have to update our tail also. So I will do this dot tail equals new node, right? Because tail is going to be the last node and the freshly pushed node will be the new tail, right? Alright, moving on to the next step, we have to increase the length by 1. That we can do here, right? And the final step, return the linked list. I will simply return this object. Alright, that's all what we need to do to implement the push method. Now let's see if it is working as expected or not. Firstly, I will push 1 into my linked list. The second node will have the value 2. And third node will have the value 9. And fourth node will have the value 10. Also, I will add a console log here because we are returning this object, right? So it should work. Alright, you can see our linked list is now updated, and the first node is this head property. You can see the value is 1 and the next pointer is pointing to node 2 that has value 2, and the second node that has value 2 is pointing to 9 and 9 is pointing to 10. And since 10 was our last node, right, so its next pointer is pointing to null. So our head property is working as expected. And the tail, you can see the last node is 10, right, and the tail is also pointing to 10, and there is no value in the next pointer, and the length is also 4, which is also expected and working fine. That's all for this one. In the next video we will try to implement the pop method. Stay tuned for that, and thanks for watching.